Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Sessions with Paola. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. And if you know anyone that can use this information, make sure that you forward it to them. So today I'm going to talk about a topic that is very common in my practice. What happens when desire subsides in a long-term relationship, and why does this happen? One of the things that it's really important to remember is that as we're getting to know someone, we look to be alike. We look to seek familiarity because it makes us feel comfortable. So we start questioning what is it that they want, what are they comfortable with, and this starts to take a toll on the sexual part of the relationship. The other thing that shows up is scripted sex. Guys, we literally see scripted sex everywhere, starting with the movies. She's at Publix, she drops an orange, this nice guy picks up the orange, that's take one, and he's not only good looking, has a great job, he's super funny, which humor is really important, and somehow they start dating. Second take, they're in this beautiful Miami restaurant. I don't know how they got reservations at 8 p.m. on a Friday night. Take three, they start kissing, they start feeling on each other. All of a sudden, sex happens, both orgasm at the same time. Take four, she's making breakfast, wearing his shirt, making this delicious and nutritious breakfast. Scripted sex also makes men feel a little bit safer whenever they lose erection or have insecurities about maintaining their erection, because they're like, okay, if I kiss, if I caress, if I do this, not only it gets the job done, but if it worked once, it should work again. And finally, scripted sex sometimes becomes a way to avoid some of the deeper issues that may be having some type of consequence in the relationship. So if we do 1, 2, and 3, we don't have to have those scary check-ins when we say, hey, was that good? Do you want anything more of? And all of this familiarity makes it really hard for people to ask for that, what they really want. And what may happen is one day you wake up and you've been with your partner for 3 years, 4 years, and then you ask, is this it? Is this the sex that we're going to have? And or you may experience desire being awakened by somebody looking at you or you looking at someone. Other things that get in the way when it comes to desire in a long-term relationship, pressure. And pressure has two parts. The pressure within, oh, I should and I must because he really wants it. And if I don't, then he's going to be upset. And remember, you guys, I'm using he, but this shows up in both genders. What I see a little bit in men is that they're afraid of failing their partner. And I often ask, how can we fail in sex, right? But sometimes he's so afraid that I'm just not doing enough. And so he starts to see it as a pass or fail test. And also, it creates avoidance. A lot of people say, well, I avoid initiating sex because what if we don't enjoy it? What if you don't like it? What if I fail you? So it's really important to understand, guys, that there's no way to fail in sex. Other things that may get in the way of sex is expressing the lack of sex from a place of anger, judgment, frustration. When you say, couples sometimes do this in my sessions, Paola, can you believe that the last time that we had sex, and then they pull out their phone to show me a note or their calendar because they've been keeping track? Or sometimes they say, how could you do this to me? Don't you see how stressed I am? Why don't you want to give me this thing that I need? Guys, let's stop for a minute and let's think, how do we think that approach is actually going to land for your partner? Because if you pressure yourself, either coming from within or pressure your partner with subtle and direct ways, what we're going to see is someone that's feeling guilty, that's not feeling enough, that's feeling helpless, and that is a body that is not going to be open sexually. Another factor that comes up a lot is that any type of physical touch is all of a sudden translated into, okay, this is the time for us to have sex. And that can be a little bit dangerous, because then what happens is that people start to question if I physically touch you, then you're going to expect sex from me. So out of the fear of the expectation, people stop touching. And this can create a barrier when it comes to intimacy. Guys, remember that today I'm not really talking about medical and hormonal factors, but I'm only focusing on the psychological aspect. And these are some of the common things that show up in my practice when we are having a hard time seeking that desire in that long-term relationship. Remember that desire thrives in novelty, in adventure, in newness. And everything that I mentioned may disrupt some of that, especially the routine that we create when we're in a long-term relationship. Thank you for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Send me your questions so that they can be featured on my next episode. And grateful to all of you.